eso es lo que les quería preguntar. ¿Cómo les dicen a ustedes? ¿Trauma 1? ¿Trauma 2? ¿O trauma primero?
Trauma 1, he's fat.
No. Ya, es el gordito. No, mira, este siempre extra. ¿Y Trauma 2 qué? Pretty. Okay, Trauma.
Es mi hijo se
Kurt. It's my...
Your father.
No. American brother.
American brother, there you go.
This white, I'm morenito.
Both of us tenemos pelo largo natural.
Natural. Envidioso.
I need something my phone.
Necesita más.
Hare Krishna, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode number 61 of LuchaWorld with Fredo and the Freak. Fredo Esparza, Vandal the Love Handle Drummond. We have a lot to cover tonight. Everything from CMLL anniversary show to Triplemania, yay, to Superboy's Birthday Bash, which was totally bitchin'.
Before we get to Triplemania, are you going to watch Triplemania?
No.
That's it. That's it.
Yep, that's a pretty solid no, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you did say you would try to watch the anniversary show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because I was perusing the lineup and Amapola's there.
Yeah. They announced the women would be opening the card.
Yes. So I'll at least be watching that match.
And then you'll just give out the rest. You're like, I'm done.
My Amapola.
What was I gonna?
I watched 2 matches off of the Puebla show last week.
We are doing the show on Monday night. You are missing Puebla this week.
Right now, yes, I'm missing Puebla.
But you're still watching it just on the delay, you know.
Absolutely.
The next
That's
day.
the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of YouTube. That's the beauty of the modern age. You don't have to see it live. And I'm so glad I was able to see it delayed because I saw something at Arena Puebla that I have never seen before.
What was that?
An audience.
There's been some good crowds every once in a while.
Yeah. This is the first one, though, where
you've actually been watching it.
That place looks fun when it's packed.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't packed, but it was still pretty...
Yeah, I think the shows that you missed were the ones where there were people, and then all of a sudden there's none. No, there's been a few shows, but it's one show is packed, one show isn't packed. Tonight's main event was Mystico versus Cavernario, so I'm definitely going to watch that tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, I saw that's one of the matches I saw is the build-up for that.
Yeah, so. I saw somebody mention, it's like, oh man, I'm doing a podcast. The one day. We did watch the Dudley Boys farewell, so.
We did.
How excited are you? How sad are you to see the Dudley Boys?
Well, it looks like they're staying, and so I will say to them, farewell, because I never watched Raw.
Yeah, you never watched Raw. This was the only time you've seen Raw. Was that the first time you've seen a segment of Raw?
That's the first time I've seen a few minutes of Raw, and judging from that, I'm going to wait a while to watch it again. Although I do want to try to catch some of the recent women's matches, because I've heard there's some that have been worth checking out. But that's...
Well, you should probably watch on when the Cruiserweight Classic starts, or the Cruiserweight Division starts.
Yes.
September 19th. They'll be starting.
In all seriousness, I might watch some.
And I'm guessing that's when Máscara Dorada finally leaves. That's what I'm assuming, because he's going to...
bids adieu.
Although, I don't know. I mean, maybe he sticks around and just splits his time. Maybe they just want him for that one show and...
Possibly.
Don't need him the rest of the shows.
You never know. I mean, remember how...
That's how WCW and WWE used to do it.
Well, remember how methodical the transition of Sombra from CMLL to NXT was? I mean, that...
Oh, it hasn't really worked. It hasn't worked well for him in NXT.
But he can always go back. He played his cards well.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot going on. Tell us what's up, Fredo.
Do you want to start with where we were this past Saturday?
Yeah, let's talk about Saturday nights.
We were at Superboy's Birthday Bash.
At the Clayla Gym.
Clayla Arena.
I say that because I keep thinking of Gil's Gym.
we were able to interview Nicho, Millonario, and Los Traumas.
Yes.
We were shooting for Ray Horace also, but it was kind of late, and I kind of didn't really want to,
I think
writing up 2 interviews in 1 week is probably enough for...
Plus, those were lengthy interviews.
Yeah,
Especially the one with Los Traumas, and we just want to say, Los Traumas are 2 of the friendliest people we've met in the biz.
I thought they were... When I got home and I checked how long they were, Nicho's interview was 12 minutes long, and Los Traumas was 15 minutes long, and that's without editing out the final part of it. Although I didn't edit it out, because I stopped it when you guys started getting a little silly. So we actually showed up. I think we showed up before they did. Before Nicho and Los Traumas showed up, and Ray Horace, and we got some shirts. We walked back to your car to drop them off in your car, and who do we find? Nicho Millonario, who we asked for an interview. He remembered you.
I was shocked.
Yes.
I was so shocked. I hadn't seen him like 23 years, and we never really knew each other. Just he saw me around the arenas all the time.
Well, he probably saw you like talking to the guys and thought you were kind of wild. Because a lot of guys think, oh, he must be like this wild man. Like, so he agreed to do the interview right at that moment.
He was really nice.
He said, just let me get in character, and he was up for it. Mm-hmm. Then we walked back to the arena, and who should show up? Los Traumas and Ray Horace.
Right as they're getting out of the car.
Yeah, right as they're getting out of the car, and Trauma 2 recognized us.
Yeah.
Which we were shocked that he would remember us.
Totally.
And he was very happy to see us.
I know, I was surprised.
Trauma 1, who really didn't talk that much to us the last time.
He's more the introvert of the two, but he was a much more animated.
Yeah, and he was in a great mood too. Ray Horace, we were trying to get him to do an interview, but I kept asking him how much he could talk about, and he said not a lot. And I said, okay, well then I really kind of, he was joking, but it was like I kind of figured I wasn't.
Well, yeah,
but I wasn't
going to put anybody in a precarious position.
So then we started talking to the Traumas. We took pictures with them, because they wanted to take pictures with Kurt. What else was going on?
Well, yeah, because I had to get the picture of Trauma 2 without his masks.
That was during the interview.
That was a fun one. I mean, just he covered his face, but his hair is everywhere, just like mine. So
yeah, because then we told them we wanted to do an interview, and they said let us get ready for our match, and we'll go do the interview. And even before that, they were up for it. We went over. They asked us if we wanted water, which is probably one of the nicest things.
I know.
I was surprised. Yeah. Like they're here as guests for this promotion, and they're the ones asking if we're thirsty. Some
of the most cordial people I've met, as far as all the people,
all the luchadors
they've always been really friendly. Yeah,
Nicho's very friendly. So we should get to Nicho's interview first. We start interviewing.
The highlight of the interview. What was the highlight?
The highlight of the interview. We go into this little room in the back of the building, and there's some pipes on the side.
And the guy was trying to fix the air conditioner. Yeah.
So the audio is really kind of all messed up because you could hear the audio in the front, but you could also hear the noise in that little room. We probably should have gone outdoors for that interview. And all of a sudden, I look down. Nicho looks down, and his finger is bleeding. Two of his fingers are bleeding. Like they're just like there's drops falling into the ground. And I look at him, and I go, "Are you okay?" And he's like, I don't know. I think it's on the interview because we started.
You asked him what happened, and he just looked at his finger very casually and said, "I don't know."
Yeah, and I said
he grabbed a napkin that was crumpled up already.
Yeah, and I said you're pretty extreme.
Yeah, because we're not talking a paper cut.
No,
he was dripping blood.
Yeah, but he was fine. He kept doing. I thought he was going to tell us. You know what? Let me go get this fixed.
But no, he just
kept going. He seemed really excited to be talking to us and. Like, very happy, just...
A lot more animated than
I thought. Yeah. Like, he was telling us about what's going to... It'll come up on the interview, but his plans for the next year, which are going to be very interesting.
Yes.
What else was there? He was reminiscing about Rey Mysterio, working with Rey Mysterio all those years from the first time they started.
That's right. I brought...
and then Kurt brought up some old stuff and he couldn't remember.
Oh, my God. I was so bummed he didn't remember this, because... the first year he was wrestling, when he was still, without a mask as El Salvaje, he's kind of like the good-looking Rudo, And he was teaming with two of the local Tijuana Rudos, a veteran named Indio Yori. And I can't remember who the other guy was. It might have been Oscharo, who's not a local boy, but did DJ for quite
Tijuana.
a bit for
You mean
a while.
Tijuana locals?
Yeah, Tijuana. But so it was a Rudo team, and they were wrestling three of the local Technicos. The two I remember was a guy named Tony Torres and a guy called Atlantico. And three Technicos who were really over with the local crowd, you know. And they wrestled as Technicos that first fall, and they pin Psicosis in that first fall. And after the fall, the three of them just start beating the crap out of him and start smacking him around. And the two other Rudos, and these were two old grizzled-looking Rudos, like badasses. They jump in the ring to come to his aid, and the referee shoves them back. And instantly the crowd just starts booing. It's like, it's the type of thing I could picture somebody thinking up in theory, but that wouldn't work. They turned the Rudo team babyface in less than in 1 minute, and the Technico team Rudos. And I'm so bummed he didn't remember.
Yeah.
It was one of the most brilliantly executed things I ever saw.
You know what I got from him is that we always hear, like, because we hear, like, the guys who understand the politics or care a lot about the politics in wrestling. Conan, Eddie Guerrero. I don't think Rey Mysterio was like that. But some of the other guys who's kind of Vampiro. But, those guys are very, like, they're very diva. Like, I mean, I'm sure Conan would tell you he was very... Because when you're a star, you have to be a bit of a diva.
Yeah.
And, but you ask these guys, and you ask them, hey, so did you guys hate did you hate WCW or the way they used you guys? And they're like, no. I know Nicho in the interview, he kind of says, no, why would I hate it? They paid me very well. He was just joking about it. Because I kept asking him, so what are your thoughts on AAA? And he said the same thing about, like, there's certain stuff he doesn't agree with that they do. And he was talking about the Psychosis character, and he said he didn't care about that stuff. He's like, I don't care. That guy's I made my living. People,
that's cool.
He's like, people know me as Psychosis. They know me as Nicho. It doesn't matter.
They know who he is. That's a face you can't miss.
And then right when I asked him about the CMLL interview, the promo that he did at the end of a match where he said he was going to bring his, he was going to fly back in his private jet. You cut it out, and I'm like, oh man,
no way.
No, but that's fine, because it was us just talking at the end. And I go, so what'd you think? What was the plan? Do you still travel in your private jet? And he's like, no, not anymore. Now it's just a bus. And I just started laughing.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, he was really cool. Like,
very down to earth.
Yeah, really nice guy. He seems like a guy that he's probably gonna end up being like the Traumas, where you see him at a show that he's gonna be saying hi to everybody and greeting you.
Yeah, he seemed like a...
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear about people being kind of, well, like you said, diva-ish and stuff like that. For some reason, I expected that a little bit.
I expected it. Yeah, because he's been everywhere. He's been in WWE. And he even said, he's like, I've been in all these places. Like, but still, I still enjoy it. His son is training to be a wrestler.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
So I told him, he's got the bug, and he's like, yeah, I couldn't keep him out of the business.
That's what most fathers say when a son gets in the business.
Yes. So then we did an interview with Los Traumas, and Trauma 2. When I first started, I got them both wrong, and they corrected me. Like,
yes,
they corrected us. They explained to us which one's which, but I knew it just came out wrong. But Trauma 2 wanted to do the interview in English. Like, he told us, he's like, let's do the interview in English. And I was as stumped as Trauma 1 was when it came to that, because he was he's very outgoing. Trauma 2 is very outgoing. So then what was it? Oh, so then I asked them. I guess we were talking about how they best describe. Oh, because I asked them what's the best way to just call them, Trauma 1 or Trauma 2, Trauma. The different names, the numbers in English or Spanish or like Primero, Segundo, stuff like that. And they were like, he's like, oh, however you want. And he's like, but remember, Trauma 1, he's the what do you say, the fat one.
Yes.
He's like, and I go, and Trauma 2 is the pretty one. And I thought I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no, they were great.
Yeah,
they were really nice guys.
Yeah, they were just like I was really impressed with how they but like not like Negro Navarro, they're just like their father.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. I mean, Navarro was equally.
Yeah,
friendly.
So Trauma One was a little more serious in the interview, and he was talking about his upcoming mask match, and he basically said that if he lost the mask, he would be Hijo de Negro Navarro. And Trauma 2 then made the suggestion that Kurt become the new Trauma 1. He'd be the gringo Trauma 1. So for 10 seconds in the interview, Kurt is Trauma 1.
I was an honorary Navarro for 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yeah. It was
then,
the hair, right?
Yes.
It was because of the hair.
The hair. Because then you guys started talking about the hair, and then Trauma 1 said he had extensions. The Trauma 2
That's
had
right,
extensions.
yes.
And you guys were just messing around. And
my first question to him was, well, where do I get them to cover this bald spot that I'm getting?
Yes. So then I tell Trauma 2 what I was planning on telling Rush back when they were looking for a new Ingobernable. And I suggested you would be the perfect Ingobernable. Only we never got to go. I think Rush wasn't able. He no-showed that show. And then the following show, we weren't able to go.
That's right, yes.
Well, he didn't know. He just couldn't make it to that show. And at that Trauma 2 dumped Kurt from being an official, official Trauma.
Disgrace.
He could have been Trauma USA. Yeah.
So I leave disgraced, traumatized.
Yes, traumatized.
Bum.
They kept saying traumatized. It's like we've been traumatized. Yeah, but they were really nice guys.
And
really talented wrestlers.
And we spent so much time talking with our buddies like...
well, we spent a lot of time talking to them that we missed at least...
We did, yes.
The first 3 matches in the card.
We missed the first 3 matches. Then we were talking just to our regular buddies like our friend Wombat Roger.
Principe Indu.
Now wasn't...
Principe Indu for about 1 hour we were like stoked because he told us he had wrestled the Midnight Express. So we were like, what version? Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey or Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane? His response, I don't remember.
Yeah.
We were like, what? So we go in at the end of the show. We go inside, and Superboy is Principe Indu's brother. Here's us talking about this. We're like, man, can you believe your brother wrestled the Midnight Express? And Superboy looks at us like, he didn't wrestle the Midnight Express. He wrestled the Midnight Rockers.
And then we said, that's just as cool.
Yes, the Midnight Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
And he was like, yeah.
Yes, and he said like, oh yeah, I don't remember who they were, but they were both very good.
Yeah.
He was really fun to talk with. I mean, I think I've chatted with him before, but Indu's a really fascinating guy.
Yeah, because
he's not obsessed with I'm a worker, I'm one of the boys. He's very down to earth and just,
well, it's kind of weird when I talk to some of these guys. I'll ask them, "Hey, do you ever, do the younger guys ever ask you guys, like, just questions or what you've been up to, or you tell them stuff?" And like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like the younger guys don't really. I think they think they're the shit or something, and they could do whatever they want, and it's like.
In fact, that's one of those things we're talking with them about. It's not there's a lack of talent today. There's kind of a lack of structure and discipline with guys coming up.
Yeah.
And especially that's very apropos for him because the local scene back in the 70s, it was really structured. The workouts were... It was very like, how do you say, the seniors and the juniors. Not family-wise, but...
Yeah.
But like I remember
the vets and the
rookies. Yeah, the rookies were the ones who had to clean up after everybody else. The rookies were worked hard.
And it's weird because you hear guys that like are really into hearing stories from the veterans, but like sometimes you just don't hear the guys hearing. I mean, there you hear like there's guys sitting around talking and stuff. Like you'll see like Acero Dorado and Indu and all these other vets who show up at shows that go backstage to talk to the guys. I think Tornado Negro was there, wasn't he?
Tornado Negro was there. He's there for he wasn't there last night, but Gory Chavez is usually there.
Who was the guy you said hi to? I think it was Tornado Negro.
It was, yes.
Yeah. He was there.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Yeah, so it's
and it's a family thing. I mean, some of these families have there's been kind of this this has been a community since like the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what to compare it to because I'll see a lot of old timers. Sometimes the guy who wrestled as Fantomas will show up there. You never know who's going to show up at one of these.
Well, it's like the Traumas. They show up and they remember us. It's like,
yeah.
And that's what Trauma 2 was saying, that it's not just about making money. It's just traveling and getting to know people. You meet new friends and everything.
Saying he and his brother were kind of like people.
They're very they just interacting, finding out, hearing stories,
extroverted.
Even though the Trauma 1 is a little quieter, but he was awesome. I mean, he was like,
he was very friendly.
Yeah, it was really cool. And he was more into, because he was the one that had the big match. He's been having a lot. Yeah. I even told Trauma 2, because I'm talking to Trauma 1's telling us he just beat Mr. Electro for the heavyweight title in IWRG, and then he's going to be in that mask match. Mm-hmm. And I look over at Trauma 2 and I go, hey, so what have you been up to? And he's like, what do you mean what I've been? Oh, he's like, I'm the one handling the bookings and the money. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm making money off my brother's bumps.
Yeah. Well, he also explained the philosophy behind how they're booked in Naucalpan. How one of the brothers is pushed, mm-hmm. the other one's more in the background. But as long as one of them is pushed, they get bookings for other shows, and then the next one gets pushed for like a lightweight feud or whatever.
In fact, remember how you told me that after the interview, and it reminded me that I remember when Gordon and Goliath were a team here, they'd be pushed as a team, but then at times one of them would be pushed as a
singles. Like in a feud, yeah.
And it was interesting how it wouldn't be both of them in a blood feud at the same time with somebody else, but like Gordman would feud with Victor Rivera for a while, and then he'd kind of be in the background, and Goliath would be feuding with one of the faces. Yeah,
it's a really good interview. I look forward to posting it.
Yes.
Sometime this week it should be up. We also talked to Superboy Jr., who told us he got to team with Negro Navarro.
That's right.
Against Solar and Hijo de Rey Mysterio, the actual son of Rey Mysterio mm-hmm. Sr. And he said Superboy Jr. was just saying that he was marveling at Negro Navarro and Solar.
That's right.
Mat wrestling.
He didn't want to get in there just because he wanted to watch them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were telling Superboy and the father and mm-hmm. The uncle how when we were talking Superboy Jr., he didn't know who Brian Pillman was, and his dad's like, yeah, he knows who he is, probably just doesn't remember the name and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, he didn't know Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams.
We should have a quiz show where Indu and his nephews.
Yes,
these are the midnight specials.
Yes. I was almost expecting like it was gonna go from us thinking Midnight Express to like some other express from from back in the late 80s.
Oh God! What?
You had I would have marked out if it was a Lightning Express.
Or mentioned on a recent Brian Last podcast on the 605 podcast, the Stop and Go Express.
Oh, jeez, who was that?
This is the funny part, and I would have never guessed this guy being a member of an express. And I don't think it was one of the ones that Last did with, not with Vixen Span, but Scott. Oh God, I'm blanking on his last name. Scott.
Don't worry. What was the team?
The only member I remember the two was Mike Jackson.
Oh wow!
And even they were saying when
I would have marked out for that. I would have marked out for that.
Totally. But they were saying,
but he wouldn't remember who Mike. He couldn't remember who. He couldn't even remember who Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were. I mean, you think he's gonna remember Mike?
But he remembered how talented they were.
Yeah.
How, even when he thought they were the Midnight Express, he's just saying how great they were.
And then he's telling us how he wrestled, and he's like the guy, the movie actor, the guy who has the name of the movie actor, and I'm like. He taps me like I'm supposed to know. It's like this is like playing trivia with my parents. Like yeah. Remember that movie? Which one? The one with the guy? Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
So he's telling me the guy in the movie, and I'm like, yeah. He's like the one the Van Damme, and I'm like, oh. And then you said Rob Van Dam. Yeah, and we're like,
oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, you wrestled Rob Van. But that didn't surprise me.
Well, and also some of the local guys who have been around a long time. They grew up with their family wrestling, and they would really be into wrestling themselves and wrestling on shows. But TV wrestling, was there something
Yeah.
watched almost like a sitcom where you don't really remember it?
That's what a lot of the guys, a lot of the luchadors were saying, that they're more familiar with, like, when they go to a show, but they don't know, like, because you don't really hear it, like, when you bring up some guy and they're like, who? I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh, I did ask Traumas what they thought the difference was between learning wrestling with American wrestlers and the luchadors in Mexico.
I have a hard time picking up Spanish, but I was able to pick up the gist.
And he was saying that American wrestlers, they like wrestle like what they see on television. Mm-hmm. It's like in Mexico, the guys are actually wrestling what they see at the shows. You know, like the live show. It's not a 10-minute match.
Yes.
See, and what the guys in the U.S. are watching the 10-minute. It'll come off better when when I listen to it again. But yeah, I was very intrigued because I just thought it was. I didn't have anything else to ask because I didn't expect this to last 15 minutes talking to them. It's like, and we talked to them longer than that afterwards. Yeah,
it was a fun evening.
They were great guys. We also had cake.
We ate cake.
Yeah.
Even though I need to lose some weight.
Yeah. True.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah,
I cannot fit into my deep purple shirt anymore.
You can't? Oh my goodness.
No, seriously. I'm not joking about that.
No t-shirts for you until you get
no t-shirts
some weight.
for you.
So you lose weight and just figure out how you're going to wear it.
Seriously, that's my aim. I've been cutting sugar almost entirely out of my diet, and I broke it that night. I sinned. I have sinned.
So I figured we did a wacky enough interview with Los Traumas, where I think we are ready to interview Teddy Hart.
Absolutely.
And when is that? September 3rd?
And we are set for that.
We're going?
Yes, we are going.
We will attempt to interview Teddy Hart.
And his cat.
Do
we know what his cat's name is?
I think it's Mr. Bubbles.
Mr. Bubbles.
Or Mr. Money. I can't remember. Either one. I can't remember.
Okay, we have something.
I'll look it up. It'll be on Wikipedia. That's the one thing they'll have everything wrong except for the name of the cat.
That's right.
And I think the other psychosis is on the show.
That's right. Yes.
I said we should interview that psychosis and talk about him as if he was Nicho and Millonario.
Yes. What was it like training with Rey Mysterio and Tijuana?
But you know, he actually, I think, isn't he Leon Negro? I think he is a TJ guy.
Honestly, I don't know.
Psychosis, the second one.
Wouldn't it be funny if he remembered the angle with Psychosis that I saw?
What if he was like one of the technicals in that match? And you're like, oh shit. I think he is. I think he's I think he's a TJ guy also. Because his son's also getting into wrestling too. No, not a son. It's a guy he gave the...
Who's kind of like a son figure.
Yeah.
But there's a huge bunch.
Well, we got to talk about
Triplemania, and...
We got way more news. I think we talked about it in the last podcast.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
We had the full lineup by then?
I believe we did. Yeah, I think we went
so what we do know is Triplemania will be on iPay-per-view. Mm-hmm. You've already confirmed you won't be watching.
I will not be watching it.
I will try to watch it. I'm hoping they'll have a video on demand. Because it never works for me live, so you know.
No, I'm going to take the batteries out of my remote controls just so I don't accidentally buy it and turn it on.
It's on your computer.
Well, then I'm going to
unplug your computer.
I'm going to plug my computer. Yes, I'm going to call the electric company and say, have a brownout for just one day.
You're even more anti-AAA than Conan.
Oh, man.
But he's not bitter. He did an interview where he said, "I'm not bitter. I just don't like. I just don't like working with idiots and liars." And I was like, "Yeah."
Then why is he in the wrestling business?
He said there's a lot of talent. And I agree with him.
There's a lot of talent, but there is a lot of
there's a lot
liars.
of it'll be on iPay-per-view for $23. So
I will not be.
You'll be saving $23.
I'm going to think what I'm going to do with my $23.
Well, you're probably going to pay for the UIPW show. To go see Teddy Hart.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Now you have money saved for that. An extra $3 so you can get yourself a bottle of water and a torta.
A torta and maybe even a shirt.
Yes, there you go.
But I'm not paying $18 for that Blue Demon mug. $18.
I saw that. You went over there. Every single time we see those mugs, you're like, hey, and you keep thinking they're going to give you a discount. I think because you asked the last time, didn't you?
No, I just kind of looked at it.
And she didn't say anything.
It was really cool. They didn't say it, so There's a friend at work I thought might like the Blue Demon mug.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, wow, if it's like $12 or something, 18 but nah. It was cute, but it wasn't quality.
And then you get some sort of, it's got some sort of the paint on it. It's probably going to like
exactly
give you some illness.
After he sips coffee, he's going to get lead poisoning or something like that.
Yeah, so the only thing we have that's new from Triplemania is that actually one of the, I don't know if Phoenix is going to be on the show. I'm thinking he will be. But they finally announced the rest of the Copa Triplemania participants, except for one. One will be a Luchador Sorpresa. But as last show was just Parka, that was announced. But this time it's Australian Suicide, Daga, Elegido, Hernandez, Hijo de Pirata Morgan, Superfly, Taurus, Zorro, Mamba, Pimpinella, and the Luchador Sorpresa. Basically just...
So Dog is in it?
Yeah.
Would that be funny if the Luchador Sorpresa was Gato Ever Ready?
Why? Daga, not Dog.
Doggy.
Pimpinella's and who was Gato?
Wasn't that Daga?
No, that was Drago.
Drago.
Oh, that's who you thought.
Yeah, damn it.
No, Drago. Drago is it? That's why I was like, what do you? And I was like, oh, I was looking for Drago. I was like, Drago's in the 4-way tag match.
Another
this card is actually a lot better than the
last one.
The last one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually,
I dig the Lucha Underground trios match. I actually think, other than the main event, the rest of the card looks, and the opener probably, everything else I could sit through and watch. Pentagon Jr. versus Johnny Mundo should be good.
That actually would be worth $23. I must confess.
Yeah, Hijos de Han. But then again, you could probably watch it on Lucha Underground. Which you haven't watched.
No, I haven't.
So if you haven't watched, you're like, pay $23 or actually look for the episode with Pentagon Jr. versus Johnny Mundo, and use that as.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if they've actually had a match. I can't remember. I'm sure they've had a match somewhere. There's so much wrestling. There's so much wrestling every week, and really good wrestling too. Like every week, there's something good going on.
This is true. There's lots of it.
We went to that show, and there was some good. We missed a good match on that show.
Unfortunately, somebody taped it.
Yes, Roger.
And I really dug that main event. Whichever version of Angel Blanco that was.
It is the one I told, the one that lost the mask.
Oh, okay, yes.
So he's good. He's good.
He is a great Angel Blanco.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really good in the role.
What else was there? There's the tag match I already mentioned. Paul London, they found out. I don't know where they found him. he's working with Lucha Underground, but that was a weird addition. The Verno Chessman versus Marion Fabio Pachi match. The mask versus hair match of Psycho Clown versus Pagano, which Trauma 2 said was a battle of clowns.
Yeah, Psycho.
Which he said those two are clowns, and I said literally, and he's like, yes. I don't mean it in a negative way. We were just laughing about it. Hijos Tejano versus Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Cage for the AAA Mega title. That's it. Mm-hmm. Oh, and they're gonna put Love Machine into the AAA Hall of Fame. Yeah, so that should be good.
Cool.
That should be good. Although I'm pretty sure if there was actually a Lucha show we were going that day, I would probably not order the show. I've learned my lesson from that one.
I remember that. That was that other 2 years
ago.
The
Superboy Birthday
Bash. Yeah.
I regret it. Although he didn't bring any big names for that show, I think. Did he?
He didn't. No.
No, because that was just local guys.
But it was live, so there's no.
Oh, we gotta mention the during the main event, Nicho Millonario. He's everybody's brawling in the crowd, and Nicho throws I can't remember who. I think it might have been Enigma. Was it Enigma or?
It was.
I think it was
Blanco, wasn't it?
Was it Angel Blanco?
I think it was Blanco.
Well, it was one of the technicals, and he threw him into this baby carriage.
Yes.
And everybody freaked out.
Not realizing it was there.
He didn't realize there was a baby carriage. Everybody freaked out. Nicho Millonario looked absolutely like scared. Sitting in one corner was one of the wrestlers. Can't mention who he was because he was unmasked.
Yes.
And actually, it was his baby carriage because I think it's his wife's baby.
Yeah.
And you see Superboy's wife just go over and look like shocked. They look inside, and all you see inside the baby carriage is an iPhone or some phone, and it's like, and they're just laughing. And one of the guys grabbed the save the beer, and he grabs the beer that was on the baby carriage on the cup holder. and all of a sudden the lady that was carrying the baby comes in, and they all go over to tell her the story. But it was so funny.
And didn't Nicho actually apologize?
Yes, Nicho looked scared.
He was so scared that he heard.
Yes,
the
he was
baby.
like, "Holy shit! Sorry about that." Because I'm just glad the actual guy, the guy who's the dad. I think it's Acero Dorado's baby, right?
Yes.
He can't argue because he's really crazy. His matches always end up being
crazy and
a lot crazier than that.
He is a legit badass.
Yeah,
He's somebody you would.
But he was busy drinking. He was
yes,
enjoying the show. Yeah, he was enjoying.
And
the
he's
show.
actually a very mellow guy.
Yeah,
it would take a lot to piss him off.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights from that show. I'm surprised Nicho wasn't on this card. So maybe he'll be the luchador sorpresa.
That's right. Yes.
So also. The following week, that show's happening August 28th, Sunday, August 28th. Friday, September 2nd, CMLL celebrates their 83rd anniversary with
Dragon.
With a huge, well, I guess, a mass match, because I don't think there's a lot of people who aren't as excited about it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, hey, you want to make somebody a superstar, this is the way you do it.
Yep.
Better to do it now before he decides to go elsewhere, because I think he is probably going to at some point. He's too big a name. Although he's still young. I mean, 20, 21 years old.
Yes.
I don't think he should go to WWE that young.
Yeah.
I would wait till I was 24, 25. Get some experience. He's gonna make money working CMLL, working Mexico, New Japan, and Ring of Honor.
It's like for every Rey Mysterio or Alberto Del Rio there's 100 Sin Caras.
And it's not like Alberto's lighting the world on fire now. It's like,
right, exactly.
And Sombra isn't either. And
it's neither of their faults. They just the way they got pushed. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've said this 100 times, but that time when they tried to push Alberto Del Rio as a babyface, and they wouldn't stop saying, "Wow, what a great representative of his Latino people."
Yes.
What a way to kill babyface.
And then when they had a chance to push him as an actual legit babyface, they turned him heel right away.
Yeah.
So Dragon Lee versus La Mascara, and a lot of people are picking La Mascara to win. Like a lot of the CML people, I'm guessing it's because they want it to be like a little more. And there's a good chance because they were asking the minis. They were on a show and they were talking about, and Demos 316 said he was one of the few guys who picked Dragon Lee. And he said because Dragon Lee, he always goes all out. Like a shot at La Mascara.
Yeah.
And he said, but honestly, either guy loses his mask, their careers aren't going to be over. They're good looking. Exactly. He's like, I've seen them backstage. They're good looking guys.
Now, my question: if La Mascara loses and he takes half the mask and it's Jim Carrey, wouldn't that be something?
But what? I'm curious if he's already come up with a name, because he can't be La Mascara.
I mean, yeah, or he could be Sin Mascara.
I mean, he could be something Alvarado, which, I mean, that's the one benefit. He's got
Sin Mascara Alvarado?
I think he's going to be Papi Alvarado or something like that. Because he calls himself Papi the Papis.
Yes. Okay, now, Brazo de Plata's super porky. Now, this guy is lean and fit. What, super... I don't know, what's a farm animal that's lean? Super horsey?
I hope he doesn't go with that. Yeah, but I mean, it's a.
I wonder if he's. I think. I don't know, but I wonder if he just is tired of being La Mascara. He has the most bland.
Because it's a bland. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he realizes I need to change because I'm bland. Because I think La Mascara with the mask, and people will always tell me, well, what's he going to be without his mask? With name, they focus so much on the name. Yeah. But his he's just not. He's not a guy who's going to be over. Like maybe losing the mask, he's a good-looking dude, and
that's what I'm thinking.
Gives him a reason to like.
And I don't think he's a sucky wrestler. It's just he's bland.
He's very bland. And that's what Dragon Lee kept saying. Like he's a very bland wrestler.
Yeah. Where La Sombra, even though you couldn't see so much of his eyes.
Now he's a bland wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. but if you went back to CMLL, he'd be on fire again. Totally.
But it's so funny because I remember when Hector Garza was in WCW, and I thought, man, he's kind of like of all the guys I wasn't that excited about seeing him because I mean I dug the Tornillo, I dug his work, but he wasn't like Rey Mysterio or Juventud Guerrero. Right. He didn't bring that fire in there because his style was so different. And then you see him like when he goes to Mexico, it's like holy shit, how did WCW drop the ball on this guy?
Amen.
It was amazing. He was amazing.
He was great.
Yeah. So that's the main event, Dragon Lee versus La Mascara. Who do you have winning that?
I think Dragon Lee.
You don't think they're gonna swerve and go with?
No, they could do that. They could swerve. One thing I'll say about CML, for all the jokes we make about their disorganization, I think they're smart and they actually do keep you wondering, because sometimes you're surprised at who drops hair or mask.
The one thing they do well is the big shows.
Yeah.
But everything else, like getting to the big show, it's like it's so chaotic. Like they don't know. It's like, maybe we'll do this. Well, like Traumas were saying, they were in the interview. Traumas were talking about, like 1 week it was Rush, the next week it was Pure Oath, the following week was Mystico. Then Dragon Lee's like they didn't really have this. They were talking about how the feud with Trauma 1 and Canis Lupus has been built up over four months.
Yeah,
it's like, whereas these guys, it's like been constantly switching back and forth. The reason that happened is Rush got in trouble for that match with LA Park on that Elite show.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Not only did he get suspended, but they told him he wasn't going to be working the anniversary show. I think they were planning on doing Rush versus La Mascara.
Oh, jeez.
And they decided.
I'd rather see Dragon Lee and Mascara personally.
Yeah, because Rush versus Rush. I think Rush needs to go against like some bigger name like Atlantis.
And Dragon Lee and La Mascara. One reason I picture Dragon Lee is kind of a cool gimmick to kill so soon. I mean,
were you rooting for Pure Oath versus La Mascara? I don't think Mystico. I never thought, just because I thought he's barely getting back into it. He's very much improved this year, but I thought in a singles match versus La Mascara, that's not the right guy for him. The right guy for him would be like Euphoria or Mephisto, guys, Ultimo Guerrero, guys who could like carry him.
And I am glad that the Mystico thing, I mean, he's not huge like the original Mystico or anything, but I'm glad it's working out, because I thought, what a position they putting him in.
I want him to come to LA so I could see if I'm bigger than him. I think I am bigger. I think I'm bigger than him, like taller, and
we'll bring a tape measure.
Yeah. I'll be like, hit me. The other match, there's a hair versus hair match. Ray Bucanero versus Super Crazy. I'm sure you're excited about that match.
For old time's sake.
Yeah, well, it's a nostalgia match.
I always loved Super Crazy.
Hopefully, they had a singles match where they actually worked hard. The rest of their stuff hasn't been very good.
Oh, so they might turn it on.
Yeah, they might turn it on, or it might just be... It's either going to be really good, or it's just going to be one of those matches you skip. The opener is Amapola, Dallas, and Zeuxis versus Marcela, Lluvia, and Princesa Suhei. They are talking about Zeuxis versus Princesa Suhei in a mask match. So don't be shocked if that actually ends up happening like a challenge at the end. Because there's supposed to be another big show on the 16th, I think. September 16th. And Rob Viper was the one that reported that first.
Okay. Kudos to you, Rob Viper.
Yes.
That's
Rob Viper.
Viper, yeah, Rob Viper. How dare we? Rob Viper.
We must continue Marco's tradition of calling him Rob Viper.
Exactly. Now, so this next big show is like a sub-anniversary show?
That's what he had mentioned, that he thought it was going to be that, but then I was like, well, maybe it's not that. And he's like, well, either way, it's going to be a big event. I go, yeah, you're probably right. So that's probably going to happen. I'm guessing that might happen. If not, it'll probably be something that they built, because they keep asking Princesa Suhei about retirement. I don't think she's planning on retiring, but she's kind of brought up how she actually mentioned when Princesa Blanca retired. When she retired, remember Princesa Blanca?
Yes.
When she retired, she said that a lot of the women were a little shocked that she retired.
Oh, so that was out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere. They didn't realize. It just came sudden. The second match is a match kind of like just I don't know. It seems like a throwaway match. Shocker, Mephisto Festo versus Maximo, Marco Corleone, and Stuka Jr. Stuka Jr. This should be a good, match.
It'd be entertaining having Marco and Maximo on the same team.
Yeah, and Stuka Jr. does pretty well. He's going to be motivated. His Ring of Honor match just aired this past, I think today or this past weekend. So he went to Ring of Honor, right? I think we talked about that. Did I talk about that?
No, but
we'll talk about it in a bit.
All I heard about is the deals.
We'll talk about that. And so I guess that's probably why they wanted him in this. Because it's funny because they just announced that Marco and Maximo had teamed up with the New Zealand guy, Johnny Idol.
Yes.
And they were going to be a trio. And of course, what happens? That guy gets pulled and they have Stuka Jr. Which I kind of don't mind because Johnny Idol, I still think he needs a little more seasoning for a big show. And these are shows where they give it to the guys where, they gotta get a payday or something. The fourth match is Máscara Dorada, which might be his final anniversary show. Unless he comes back by next year. You never know.
Wouldn't it be funny if he came back with Sombra?
Yeah. We gotta start making odds of who's the first to come back. Sombra, Máscara Dorada, or Alberto.
Out of curiosity, have you heard any buzz? I mean, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't know that, but somebody in Sombra's position in NXT, what kind of money do they make, and how does it compare to what they made at home?
I don't know.
I was just curious.
Máscara Dorada, Caristico, Atlanta. You always ask me about this. I never know.
But that's one of those questions I don't know if the general...
Yeah, like I'm not going to even... I don't even ask.
Know it. I'm just curious.
I never talk about how much people make. Even nobody. I never ask anybody.
I never talk about how much I make. I don't make very much.
Yes, I never ask.
My job,
It's weird when people tell me
I boast about how much Elena makes. Yeah, she makes more money than me.
Yeah, and there's some people who will tell you like straight out like how much they make, and it's like to me it's just.
I think that's wise.
Yeah, it's like I usually don't ask. Like I'll ask them how much they make for a booking.
Yeah,
but that's basically.
Well, the reason I'm just kind of curious. I'm curious. He.
Well, he's probably making more than he is, but the other thing, it's his dream also.
Yeah, exactly, and who knows? Maybe some people are, like you're talking about, psychosis. He's working. Maybe he just sees this as I'm making money. This is a whole new experience,
and it's they have a good time. As a fan, you look at it completely different.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I bet you, if you asked Caristico. Man, you really sucked at how much did you hate working in WWE? He's gonna tell you, no, I had a great time. I got paid well and all this other stuff. He'll just come up with a bunch of the positives. It's like I
remember one of the first wrestlers I know, Bobby Lane. He came out to LA and after the third week he says, "Wait, I wasn't expecting this." I'm going, "What's that? Like, is the pay really low?" He goes, "Well, the pay's not great, but I just thought I was going to put people over. That's what I always do, and they're pushing me." And so. I mean, he took great pride in his work, but to him, it was a job, and he really didn't care if he is on top or just putting people over.
Yeah, like I said, when you talk to the wrestlers, they don't really like. They're not viewing wrestling the way you're viewing it. Like you're seeing it from the outside, and they're actually living it, so they're not really concentrating on that stuff.
But that's why I'm curious because there are some guys like.
Yeah, I know some guys
who is very conscious of. Him of being pushed the way he wants to be pushed, but then there's other guys who are just kind of like. And
there are some guys who like if you compare whatever they're making in NXT, they could probably make that getting a ton of bookings. But I think like I was saying, it's a dream to be in WWE for these guys. The fourth match I was trying to get to: Máscara Dorada, Caristico Atlantis versus Negro Casas, Barbaro Carbono, Felino. That should be. If Casas is helping,
that's what I was.
Yeah, I don't know. He keeps not being booked on. Like he worked one show and then he didn't work the following week. He's.
Well, I've heard a buzz, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that.
Where'd you hear this buzz from? I like how I get you. I stump you on. It's like, oh shit.
Well, the reason I say buzz is I can't remember where I read it.
Or are you buzzed?
I'm sober right now. Hey, I have my car outside. I will not.
You saw it on Twitter. You're like, I saw
Twitter
or Facebook. Might have been Facebook.
Because
Facebook, there's a lot of rumors.
When I say I heard a buzz, that means
usually
I
Facebook.
Don't remember why I said it, and I don't know if it's legit or not. But somebody's speculating: are the injuries catching up to him? And
probably.
Somebody said something that's what they heard, and I have no idea.
We should have asked the Traumas about it.
Totally.
We should have asked. Hey, you guys know what's going on? Because they even brought up Puma and Tiger, which is it? What's going on with Negro Casas?
Their dad was Negro Casas' idol.
Yes. But but like I said, those guys don't even know what they're like. They're like, I remember that one time I go, do you guys talk about being a junior with other juniors? And they're like, no. Like, don't you guys like? That's what I would be like. So how are you doing? Like, because I think over here in the U.S. we're more like. There's certain people who want to know more about what's going on in the business and stuff like that. Whereas in Mexico, like, in Lucha, even here in LA, they're not as you don't really.
Yeah, they're not as like. How do I say? It's almost more of a lifestyle than it is like wow, what's he up to? What's he up to? It's like Hey family, remember how?
Well, look at that day with Volador where none of us could figure out if TNA was still around.
Yeah,
there was was five of us.
Yes.
Five of us. One of the guys said, I don't know, and then Superboy said, I think they're done. You said they might be done. I said I thought maybe they were done, and Volador Jr. had no idea what we were talking about. Like,
and the funny thing is, with something like TNA, we all could have been right at the same time.
Because at that time they were going through that TV deal. That match should be good, even if Casas. Hopefully, if Casas can't make it, they replace him with like somebody good and not Mr. Niebla.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Niebla is.
Although Mr. Niebla tries hard in the big events, but it's like
I will say on that because that was the other match that I watched on Puebla last week, and Barbara Carbonari did most of the physical work.
Yeah.
Plus, they were pushing the
his feud with
him.
Mystico.
But I still found Felino and Niebla entertaining. I wouldn't say, oh boy, I'm looking so forward to their match. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Oh, I should mention Mr. Niebla did this interview. They started talking to Barbara because this was when Barbara Carbonaro was going to Japan or something. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was going to Japan. Did he go to Japan?
Not recently, I don't
think. I think Japan was brought up. Mm-hmm. They brought up Japan, and Mr. Niebla said, "Oh, it was Euphoria. They were teaming with Euphoria. Euphoria was going to Japan for the Super Juniors. It happened this past weekend. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of weeks, and they were asking Euphoria what he thought about going back to Japan, and Mr. Niebla said, 'You're going to Japan? You know I'm not allowed to go into Japan.'" And they just kept looking at him. Oh, and then he said when he's not there, when he's not at a wrestling show, it's usually because he's locked up.
What?
Because he drinks so much. And he's like, I know people think I'm joking, but it's probably true.
Oh my God!
So he's been a good.
My crack about
he's been very open about that stuff.
No, that's cool. I give it to him.
Open about it.
But my nickname for him is true, Dr. Jerry Niebla.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wild man.
Yeah.
I like this guy. This guy.
Yeah, and but they were just being silly in the interview. That match. I think that match will be really good.
Oh, very cool.
I don't think it's going to be Mascaradora's last match in Mexico because he's already booked for like a show. I think he's booked through September 10th. Mm-hmm. And I think he might be booked in a few other shows later on. The semi-main event is for the CMLL World Trios title. The Sky Team, Volador Jr., Mystico 2, and Valiente versus Los Guerreros Laguneros, Ultimo Guerrero, Gran Guerrero, and Euphoria.
I'm up for that one.
That should be really good. I'm up
for that one a lot.
I mean, the other matches are usually really good, even though like that one time I told Volador Jr., They had that match too many times.
Oh,
remember that was
yes,
that was the first interview, and I said it because it was kind of boring at that time because Ultimo Guerrero was working feuding with Thunder and
oh god yeah,
and they would have the other guys go work with them, not Ultimo Guerrero. Mm-hmm. Ultimo Guerrero now lately he's been work rate back, he's back to being really good.
Oh cool.
They interviewed Sky Team, Volador Jr. and those guys. Mm-hmm. They met Volador Jr. The first thing he said, he's like, well, if we lose the belts, this could be the last time you see this team together.
Ah.
So he said they might break up. I don't know.
It's cool to have Valiente up there in the card on an anniversary show.
And then Valiente,
I know he's never going to be pushed as a singles.
Yeah, and then Valiente said he. So this interview basically goes from them talking about the trios match to Volador Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero trash talking each other. To the point where, because Ultimo Guerrero said he had beaten Volador Jr. in an anniversary show, and Volador Jr. got very upset. He's like, you never beat... that Ultimo Guerrero said that they had beaten that trio in an anniversary show. Volador Jr. got very upset. He's like, you never beat us in an anniversary show. It was the trio with, I think, Mascara Dorada.
Okay.
When it was Dorada, Valiente, and Mystico. And he's like, and so they got into this huge, back and forth, like you could tell Volador Jr. got very red to the point where Valiente at the very end says he talks about how honored he is to be feuding in a match with the Guerreros, and he said Ultimo Guerrero's I guess Ultimo Guerrero has this very good reputation with a lot of the wrestlers because he's one of the guys. Him and Blue Panther are the guys who bring in those guys from their territory, the La Laguna. They're the guys who have brought those guys in, Euphoria and all those guys. And Ultimo Guerrero was saying Valiente was saying that he respected Ultimo Guerrero for being a humble and a good talented wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looked at Volador and he's like, and I like you because you're just as bitter as I am. And I just started laughing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So they need to put Valiente on the mic a little more.
Yeah.
It's like
I still laugh that the reason he lost all the weight was because that person took a poster of his and had his mask on a pig. It was a poster of
what?
Because he was fat.
I didn't know about. Yes, I remember that.
Yes. And I was like, dude, that's the meanest thing.
Oh, that is.
That's the meanest thing one can do. Yeah. So this looks like a good show. It's going to be available. It's not going to be available that day. Mm-hmm. It's going to be available the next day, Saturday, 8 a.m. Mexico time, which I guess would be 5 in the morning, 5 or 6 in the morning. Actually, 6 in the morning here in
You know
LA.
how I love to get up on Saturday mornings
on video on demand on YouTube. They haven't mentioned the price. I don't know. It'd be cool if it was $1.99 like the rest of the
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, but I'm guessing it's gonna be more than that. I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah, I do want to see it. I'm up for the show. Obviously, it won't match last year's show, but it looks fun.
Yeah, and the following day, Sunday. The following day is Actually, we won't probably watch it that day since we'll go try to interview Teddy Hart.
That's right.
Or we'll watch it and then we'll go do the interview.
We'll go to...
And we'll ask Teddy Hart his thoughts on the if he watched the match, and he'll be like, what? How am I going to watch this?
I want to interview his cat.
Yes. You interview the cat while I interview Teddy Hart.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll take 2 recorders.
That's right.
Yeah, you hold one below it.
We do have... Okay, that's something we do have to... We have to get a picture of us with our recorder up to the kitty's face.
You're going to think, man, you guys are weird. Imagine Teddy Hart calls you us.
You know
weird.
what? I think that would be the pinnacle of our career. If Teddy Hart said we're weird.
We need to get you a pic of you because we have to send it to Conan. Because that would finally complete the cycle that he...
if me with the Teddy Hart and his cat.
Yes. Remember it was...
Yes.
He said, you've taken a picture of Pimpinella. You took one with somebody... Oh, the
Amazon.
The Yeti.
That's right. Well, because I took the picture because he said something like, "Ooh, what is she, man?"
Yes.
And my response was, "I don't know, but she could smack the crap out of me any day."
Yeah. Yeah. And Conan always remembers that that's how he met me. That's how he remembers me.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll do that. Then Sunday, I think is probably the most important mass match because this match, not only is it a mass match, but there is a slight chance that if Trauma 1 loses, you could be potentially the next Trauma.
I have my passport ready.
And
I have
Are you willing to finally take over as Trauma 1?
Absolutely.
Have you been training?
Absolutely not. I'm ready to be Trauma 1. The reason is...
Will you be carrying Negro Navarro's book of 20 million holds?
That's right. Yes, I will be doing that.
And reading it as
I'll
Trauma 2
be reading
is
it
wrestling?
in the corner.
Yes.
No, the reason I want to do it is because Trauma 2 will still have his mask.
Yes.
So...
Well, you have to wear a Trauma 1 mask.
I will wear the mask, but here's the deal. Once I start wrestling... Trauma 2 will start laughing so hard that even with his mask on, people will see the smile on his face. He'll laugh so hard, his face will swell, and they can see what he looks like under that mask.
You know, I was watching their match with the highlights from their match against their dad and Black Terry. Mm-hmm. And in one of the spots, Negro Navarro has Trauma 1 in the hold, in a hold, but he lets go. And you hear Trauma 2 say, "Keep the hold on longer." and then the dad tells him, "You shut up." Right? But I was just laughing because it's probably something that Negro Navarro yells at them while they're training.
It's so funny.
And Trauma 2 is that kind of guy. He's just an easy going guy.
What's so funny is before we saw him without his mask, you could tell he's like the class clown of the family.
Yeah.
But then when you see his face, he's a good-looking guy. But
he's like crazy. He'd be like a funny
he's
guy,
the Joker.
like a party animal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the upcoming. I guess what is it? 10 days.
Yes.
10. Well, what is it? Sunday. 8 or 9 days.
we will be.
Yes. Triplemania. on the 28th. Anniversary show, the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd, UIPW, Teddy Hart.
Yes.
Kurt meets Teddy Hart.
Yes.
Photo with Teddy and the cat.
Teddy and the cat.
Mail it.
Sounds like a TV series.
Tweet it out to Conan.
Yes.
The 4th, your chance to be Trauma 1.
Yes. And when we retweet the photo, you have to tell Conan, Kurt asked if you have Pimpinela's address.
He's like, Kurt finally accomplished it.
That's right. Well, I succeeded in getting. He called me a freak, so that's my next challenge. I want him to call me a super freak.
Yeah.
I'm super freaky.
Oh, so we should talk about the Ring of Honor.
Yes.
CML relationship.
Potentially big news.
The new agreement. CML announced it, I think, several days ago. Then Ring of Honor announced it, I think, last week. They have a working agreement where now CML talent is going to be appearing on Ring of Honor shows.
Mm-hmm.
They just had Stuka a while ago in July. They're going to have Dragon Lee in September. And going from Ring of Honor is a guy named Matt Taven to CMLL.
Oh, cool.
I've never seen him, so I don't know. And I think he was injured for like a good chunk of the year. Which, I mean, a lot of the Lucha guys are probably like upset because they're sending in a guy. But I mean, an inexperienced guy who's coming back from injury, sending him to wrestle in Mexico is probably the best
Oh, it's a great education.
deal for him because I mean he could get the ring rust out,
Mm-hmm.
and the crowd isn't nearly as brutal as the American crowd.
I think you might have a lot more fun with the crowd.
Like
I mean, Mima Shimoda, remember she was saying how just
yeah, like
it's a crowd who likes wrestling. They don't want to sit there and say you fucked up or just be cold.
They'll say funny shit about you, but it's not
It's
like
in jest.
Yeah, it's in jest. And I think
I honest to God, I'm not saying this lightly. I love Lucha fans more than any other. I mean, I love how we go to a local show and there will be a fan who will remember me or one of the local boys from All Nation Center, and now he's bringing his kid to see other local luchadors. And I don't know, there's something about the Lucha fans where, I don't know,
and I like the fact
they're not overly critical, and they're there to have just a blast.
And you know the good thing for Ring of Honor is that CML doesn't really care about what their guys win or lose in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
To them, what's the big deal is them working in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Getting like a clip or a pick of them working. They don't really care if they win or lose because I mean, 3 fall matches.
Now it's on me why I didn't know about Stuka. That was July.
Yeah,
I was out of the country. I was in Europe.
That's right.
Because that's weird. Because Stuka is one of those guys I really dig, and I thought, wow.
And I think they announced it right after we did the podcast.
Okay,
he was replacing. He was a replacement for Dragon Lee, and I was like, that's why I was like, did we mention this?
Because I know my short-term memory has been really sucking lately. But I thought even I would have remembered if I heard Stuka went to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So the other news, Santo Jr. made his debut.
That's right.
On the 13th, August 13th, at the in Tijuana for the Crash.
Oh, with the Auditorio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Teamed up with his dad, Hijo Santo, versus Angel Blanco, who we saw at... We probably should have asked him. I didn't know which Angel Blanco was.
I didn't either. I mean, I thought...
He doesn't wear a mask in Mexico.
I had a hunch which one he was, but I couldn't...
I thought when you were telling me about the build, I was like, yeah, I think that is... Because I think I told you, I think that is, because you were telling me how...
Because he did resemble the guy that I saw in Tijuana years ago.
Yeah.
Who,
And who was it? Rayman. Rayo de Jalisco's son. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't. He looked good. He didn't look bad. He didn't look.
Considering it's his first.
Well, I think it's his second or third match.
Yeah.
So he didn't look that bad.
That's cool.
Hijo Santo looked pretty good. I mean, for a guy who supposedly had a career-ending, was it neck injury or back injury?
Well, I hope he's careful. I just keep.
He did that tope. He did the spot where they lay on the mat.
Yeah, where he did the roll and then the tope.
The roll and then he does the tope. That
the first time I ever saw that.
I don't know why there's more not. Oh, maybe. I don't know why guys don't do that. Neck injury.
Yeah. No, the first time I ever saw him do that, I've seen him do the roll 100 times, but the first time I ever saw him do the roll and the tope was when I went to Japan that time.
Yeah.
And I just, actually not just I, the whole place popped like crazy. for that move.
He still looked really good. I mean,
I just hope he's.
It's too bad.
I keep thinking of Rey Mysterio being the one telling him.
Yeah, that video where he's telling him, "Don't." And even in that show that we went to,
where he's telling all the younger wrestlers,
"Listen, I told Hijo Santo, take care of your body.
Yeah.
First, you don't want to be like me and crippled in a wheelchair." And I was like,
I know. And in
that same show, his son gets knocked out.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like, oh shit! Not. It's just like one of those sad moments. Although he was okay.
Yeah, but I don't have kids, but if one of my godkids said, I want to be a wrestler,
you'd say no.
I'd say, I'm going to break your leg so he can't be a wrestler. No, it'd be hard for a father who has seen the business through every different lens. I bet there's mixed emotions if you have a kid wanting to get into the business.
You know, it's weird. You see all these guys in WWE get injured constantly, like all these guys, and you see like Nero Casas barely right now has been going through injuries, but Atlantis hasn't gone through any major injuries.
Negro Navarro's in great shape.
Black Terry he had a crazy weekend. Like he had a bloodbath with Wotan, a guy named Wotam. I don't know how to say it.
Wotam?
He's an indie guy. He wrestled Demos 316.
Oh, yeah.
316. I like how I said 316. You're like, what?
Yep, I wouldn't have got it.
Demos 316. And then he wrestled, I think he wrestled somebody else also later during the weekend.
But I know you can't go back to the old days. I know you can't, I'm not one of these guys who says go back to the territory days where you work a hold for. But I think you could make some mat work look entertaining and not just like try to blow the roof off the place. Because guys are getting hurt like so early in their careers.
We're getting back to those traumas. I think they're probably not going to get as like I talked to a couple of people about them, and it's like I hope they're like interested, because I look at like all these people are into the Lucha Underground guys. It's understandable because that's what's on TV.
Yeah.
But then they also want like the high flyers. If you're a high flyer from Mexico, you're gonna get bookings in the U.S.
Yes.
But then you got guys like Los Traumas. The only bookings they get are lucha shows. Negro
That's
Navarro.
true.
Navarro. Although Negro Navarro's like that's another thing that's in the interview. Los Traumas mentioned Negro Navarro gets more bookings than they do.
Our dad outbooks us.
But it's like you got these guys who can work different styles and work with not just luchadors. They can actually work with other guys. I mean, that feud with the Ingobernables. I mean, they were just chopping the shit out of each other. I think that's most of the. When I was looking at clips to recommend to people, it's like it's all just chop fest. It's like what? That works. It's like, man, but it's still.
And with certain people, it works.
Yeah, it works.
Like a guy like Rush, it works.
Yeah. So that's. Lucha Underground starts September 7th. I don't know if we mentioned it. That's the other news. Kurt's going to start watching season 1.
That's right.
As soon as season 4 it gets announced, Kurt will start watching season 1.
I'm going to binge watch it along with Walking Dead, which I've only seen one episode of. And everybody knows how much I used to like zombie movies.
Yeah. Kurt will be watching Lucha Underground and recapping it. You could do Bix and Chris Zellner's podcast when they get to the part where they're talking about Lucha Underground.
And go...
Because you'll actually be on time.
I could actually,
You'll remember, because you're like, you know what? I'll watch this week of Lucha Underground.
Yes, let's get nostalgic.
I will be the expert for this show. They'll be like...
There you go.
Chris and Bix will be like, we saw this 10 years ago. Why are you watching it? I don't know if Bix watches it. I'm not sure Bix watches it. I know Chris watches it.
Yeah. I mean... The reason recently I've been watching so little is just what I've talked about before. I'm still time traveling into the digital archives.
Yeah.
Trying to find info on all the guys like Vincent Lopez and all them. Having fun doing that, but maybe I should watch more current stuff.
Yeah, you should. You should watch all of it.
And what's
you should watch all the shows I don't want to watch, like Puebla. The Tuesday show. I'll watch Friday, and then we can.
You watch Friday. I watch Monday.
Yeah, I'll watch Friday. You watch Monday.
Yes.
Tuesday, we gotta get somebody to watch Tuesday. Who wants to watch AAA?
Any volunteers
I
out
watch
there?
it. There's a lot of people who watch it. I try to watch it, but it's like there's some stuff I just can't get through watching.
Oh yeah.
But
especially when
I've always been like that with AAA.
When you have tons and tons of wrestling, you're gonna get picky after a while.
And you know it's weird. I've always been very into comedy wrestling. Mm-hmm. So like I'll watch, like if I'm going through DVDs and stuff I'm watching, like if there's a comedy match, I'll probably sit through and watch the entire comedy match and regret it later because I know I gotta get to work. But it's like I just get so entertained by comedy matches. Like,
I do too.
Like
I dig them.
Yeah, like if there's somebody dressed pretending to be another wrestler, that's automatically something I'm gonna watch.
Oh, Mike Phillip tags me frequently on Facebook because he finds strange comedy stuff, and he knows I'm gonna dig it, and I do. He posts the greatest stuff. In fact, how long do you think the word comedy match has been around?
I don't know how long. Probably the 30s, no?
Yeah, well, you're reading my mind because I was doing the digital archive search in late 30s. There was a match that took place in Santa Ana, a team match, not a tag team match. It was a team match. So tag teams were probably very new at the time. And Jules Strongbow was one of the people, but they said a team match in quotations, and they said this comedy match was very entertaining. So that's
who was in the match.
Jules Strongbow was on one team. Dean Denton was on the other. So I mean, established guys, not guys known as.
I remember Jules Strongbow as the announcer, like in the
yes.
Yeah.
That was
not to be confused with the later
the Frank Hill version of Jules Strongbow.
Yeah, because you're surprised I knew that, huh? You're like, holy shit!
I am impressed. Yes, I am impressed.
You're thinking, oh god, he's gonna bring up Chief Jay Strongbow or something.
Yeah. Oh, when I was 17, my mom thought I was out of control and stuff like that. And
yeah, because you were watching too much wrestling.
No, because I had a .99 grade point average, and I was hanging around a rather fast crowd. Well, she thought it was a fast crowd. She was a worrywart, but yeah, the wrestling was part of it.
Yeah.
And so,
do my homework. What?
Yeah.
Olympic auditorium wrestling. Hell no.
It was too early to tell her we hate school, but we love rock and roll because the song hadn't come out yet.
There's a lot of people barely discovering that. I think somebody, I think Chris.
It's awesome
Chris
stuff.
and Bix posted it or mentioned it on, or I think it might have been. I don't know if it was them or Brian Last and Bix. I think it's Bix and Chris. They mentioned the We Hate School the Terry Funk album actually, and I was like, man, you guys, we mentioned that years ago.
I know,
I'm the one I'm the one who found the audio for.
We know the lyrics by heart.
I sent Bix the entire album that one time. I have the entire album.
So I get sent to this psychologist, and skinny me with my big ratty hair, and I don't want to do this. And then I see the guy, and he's like 6'4", and he has white hair, and he's in a suit, and he has this winning grin, and he smiles at me, and I kind of smile at him, and I'm rolling my eyes. Oh, great! Sending me here with the grandfather to. So he just starts talking to me, and he's asking me questions about myself, and then I mentioned being into wrestling, and he looks at me and goes, "Did you say wrestling?" Yeah, he had an English dialect, and I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "You mean professional wrestling?" I go, "Yeah, professional wrestling." And he goes, "Oh my God! When I was working my way through college, I worked at a grocer in downtown LA. It was an outdoor grocery," and he said the wrestlers used to hang out by where his vendor, it wasn't a vending stand, but where he was peddling stuff.
Yeah.
And he says they would sit there and just drink huge things of half and half, just to keep themselves bulky.
Yeah.
And he said Jules Strongbow was one of the guys. I'm going, no way, you met Jules Strongbow? Oh yeah, he was a very nice man. And I come home that night and I'm smiling, and my mom says, "Oh my God, you actually like the psychologist?" She goes, "Yeah, he's really awesome." And she goes, "Oh, let me guess, he likes wrestling."
Yes. The same thing happened to me with the priest. Remember that?
That's
priest
right. Yes.
Like, my parents thought I was.
Liked wrestling.
My parents used to think I was too obsessed with wrestling, so they told the priest that I was spending too much time watching wrestling. And the priest looks at me and he's like, what do you watch? And I go, well, what do you I watch Mid-South Wrestling. I watch WWF. He didn't get that. He didn't care. I watch Florida wrestling sometimes. I watch NWA sometimes. World Class. And he's like, oh, World Class, okay. And then I say, but I also watch Lucha Libre from Mexico City and from Juarez. He's like, oh, you watch Lucha Libre? And he's like, I'm a huge fan of Lucha Libre. And my parents are just like, this was like at one of those, I think if you're a Catholic, you probably know that your families would have like these, they would have these get-togethers of Catholic, like to talk about the Bible and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, I think every religion must have something like that. And the kids didn't want to be there. You know, all the kids didn't want to be there. But that was when the priest was really cool. He was a Mexican priest. Mm-hmm. And he's like, who's your favorite wrestler? And I told him Blue Panther. And it's like, oh, he's a great wrestler. And he's like telling me all this stuff. He had his own mask. And he was telling me all this stuff. Awesome. And I was like, holy shit. And my parents are like, my parents come back. They're like, so what do you think? Should he stop watching? He's like, no, there's nothing wrong with him watching wrestling.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, I thought,
dude, yes. I never knew this
and then
about
Fry
each other.
And then Fry Tormenta starts wrestling. And when Fry Tormenta starts wrestling, I asked him, hey, do you know Fry Tormenta? And he was like, yeah. But it wasn't like one of those glowing type of things. Like,
right.
Just like, yeah, I know him, but it's like
he gave him not a 5-star priest.
Yeah, he wasn't a highly rated priest for him, I guess.
Yeah, I heard some mixed things about.
Yeah, but he was really cool. I was like, and then there's other priests that were into wrestling.
Well, isn't that funny? The both of us, mine sent me to a therapist. Yours sent you to a priest, and they both gave the same glowing review of wrestling.
But you know, I think that's probably why I don't like obsess with it like as much as other people do. Because like people ask me, hey, you haven't updated your website, and it's like, yeah. You know, it's wrestling. I'll update it once I have some stuff. And it's because I'm always busy with other stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, but it's like, it always cracks me up because I'll hear stories about guys people telling me, yeah, we can't talk about wrestling with my family and all that stuff. Like, man, you guys should meet my relatives. They actually they were like weirded out about it. My sister liked wrestling and all that stuff, but she wasn't as.
I'll never forget. She was one of the few.
Loved Ricky Steamboat.
So does Elena. All the gals loved Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
No, because for those of you who don't know, before I met Fredo, I worked with his sister, and that's how Fredo and I met.
Yeah.
Even though I had heard his name. But I was so shocked that she knew the wrestlers' names and knew the angles, and I'm like, damn, this is one groovy chick.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I think she told you the story of when we cried when Andre the Giant ripped the chain off Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event. Yeah, I wrote about that. I think on one of my one of those articles I used to write, the long ones.
Yes,
the weeklies or the monthlies.
So cool.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
Yeah, but it was weird. Like you kind of like it, but then you don't want to talk about it. Like nowadays, like with podcasts. Mm-hmm. I tell people they tell me that they're not used to doing, like if it's the first podcast they're like, oh, I don't know what to say. I was like, you guys, I don't talk about wrestling with anybody really outside of the people that are in wrestling. I go with my relatives, very little wrestling. They're interested because they know that I meet the wrestlers. Yes. So I think they're more intrigued knowing what they're like and what they're, because they're all like, I think my parents are more intrigued with the family atmosphere.
Yeah, well, and if I have relatives that that are distant, meeting for the first time, somebody will bring up that I'm an indie wrestler, and that always intrigues them. Yeah, yeah. It's weird because I'll tell people, like, if you would have told me I would be a podcast, doing podcasts, I'd probably be the last person doing podcasts. I'm not really big into talking or anything. Yeah. But it's like, as I've done interviews, I've gotten more used to it. You get used to it, and you start feeling more comfortable talking about it. Absolutely. And that's how you build it up. Yeah, it's like, but it's like, it's weird. It's funny when you meet new. There's a lot of fans who weren't into it when they were kids, but they're into it as they grew older. Yes. So they missed the part where they're getting told they watch too much wrestling. You know what I mean? I know, that was almost like a rite of childhood for long. Like I think I know, like, maybe a handful of people who have told me, like, I know Rob Bihari, Rob Viper, because I think he was young when we first started chatting online and stuff like that, emailing and stuff like that. He used to tell me stuff, like he would like do stuff like as a fan, so I knew he was like I connected well with him. Right. We pretty much grew up in that same environment of being fans at a young age.
But then you meet guys who like got into like at 18, 20, older than that, and they're not as they're just learning the stuff. And they're looking at it more at new with new eyes.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, and all of us who grew up watching it as kids, we're all like bitter about it. Like we're like, oh, it's not like it used to be. It's not as. But
I think that's gone on ever since wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I try not to be that way.
No,
like I try to enjoy everything. Like if it's a young guy, I think. Like when people ask us, why aren't we interviewing like younger guys? Like, because they don't really have a long story to tell us. Unless it's like a young guy who's actually done a lot of stuff, I'll be more than happy to interview. Because there's like Dragon Lee's done a lot.
Well, yeah, and especially if a guy you get a natural conversation.
Yeah, and there's some guys who are very good conversationalists.
You can bring
but there's some guys who are just not very good conversationalists.
Because when I was 17, I would do interviews with the wrestlers in San Bernardino.
Yeah,
and of course they were kayfabe interviews. You had. But the only time I got somebody where it was like pulling teeth to get them to say anything was Chick Donovan.
Oh, really?
I wonder why this guy isn't pushed. He has a really cool look and
I always thought that too.
Yeah,
because you would see him like for me later, and because it was early '80s, right?
Early 1980.
Yeah, 1987, 88. I thought, man, this guy's a cool
I thought he looked cool, but then I talked to people who worked with him, and they said he could be pretty stiff, and I guess.
Yeah, they start explaining.
I guess he had issues. He wasn't not drug issues, but I guess he didn't really understand the biz.
Yeah,
the purpose of the biz that well. But I remember so when did you start? Oh, couple of years ago.
Yes,
and every answer was like that.
That's what I think. Like when you do an interview or podcast, that's what you kind of want. You don't want that. You want somebody that's going to be entertaining. Who's going to have a story to tell you? Like I'm telling you guys, the Trauma's interview is insane, is ridiculously good, just because how wild we kind of got. Mm-hmm. And they still stay on track in a lot of points.
Oh yeah,
Volador's like that too. The Mascara Dorada, even though he was very serious, he talked well. Mm-hmm. Conan is. I mean, you can put a microphone in front of him, ask him one question, he'll
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
Kleinrock is like Kevin Kleinrock is like that too.
Absolutely, those are two guys.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Kevin, how was your weekend? And it's like
you don't have to edit the show.
Yes.
They could talk for an hour and make it interesting.
Yeah,
it's not just like yap.
And that's what I've always I prefer, like somebody who's far more talkative than me having to be like the one who's like, hey, so what did you think about the show? And they're like, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't watch it.
I turned on the TV and
Yeah, and it's got to be somebody. Some guys are just not that strong of an interview.
Yeah.
Or don't feel comfortable talking. They just don't feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of the guys do it because they know that's the way they're going to get noticed. And I think that's one of the things. If you're a wrestler, you really should do a lot of interviews. Do a lot of interviews, podcasts, because you're going to get comfortable as you keep doing it.
Yeah, because
I'm telling you just from my experience.
And also at least for...
And even you from your experience, because you're not somebody who like doing promos, and you're doing podcasts.
It's true. I'm surprised I'm doing them.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be this... I didn't think I'd have such a big mouth. With an.
You're even doing other people's podcasts.
That's true, and you might be doing.
Yeah, I might be doing one, but
am I not supposed to say that?
That's fine. You can say it. You can say it. I might be doing one, but they haven't really figured it out.
It might happen. So yeah. So there's a feud in the works. La Pareja.
Well, I don't know.
The F and F Pareja. The Frito.
I'm excited about. Like I was telling some of the guys.
Cool.
I mean,
it's very cool.
If it works out.
Yeah.
It works out. If it doesn't, well, we have this podcast.
Exactly. And, like you're saying about trying to get yourself out there and, get your speaking voice going, at least not so much in Mexico, but in this country, it's not the days where if you couldn't talk on the mic, there was a manager to save you.
Trauma 2 doesn't speak a lick of English. He tried to speak in English. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Mexicans don't like to, like, they feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
This guy was like, he kept looking at it. He does the thumbs up to be like, did I get it right?
Yeah.
He thought you didn't understand when he asked you if you wanted water.
Because of the way he pronounced water.
No, I don't think you heard him well. That's also because it was loud. And I told him no, he just didn't hear you. But you said it right. He's like, oh, okay. But I was like, oh,
well, that's how you learn it.
Yeah.
There,
you gotta you say it. Ask if you said it right. Do it.
Oh, I remember because when Pelocho Suicida was first here, Like,
Yeah.
we talked to him. You can understand everything
Yeah,
he says.
yeah.
When he is first here, very broken. That's when he and Mercurio started calling me cuñado.
Yeah.
They started calling me that because every time I'd leave, they'd say something in Spanish, and I found out it meant, oh, tell your sister hi for us. So I became their cuñado, their brother-in-law. But I remember slowly starting to learn to pick some stuff up. It was very broken. And then I come to Gills, and he looks at me, says, I learned. I go, oh, what phrase did you learn? It was an accident. And I said, okay, your English is very good, but I think we might have to have a little talk about what you're into these days.
Trying to figure out what he did that was
exactly.
Yeah.
But no,
that's the way.
Everybody I know who's learned a foreign language says the only way you learn is to get in there and flub it up and
that's
speak it where they're not speaking.
And I think that's something that's lacking in wrestling because there's not a lot of guys who can talk.
No, it's true. It's true.
Like doing promos, grab a recorder. That's what Jericho. Remember Jericho? What he did? He used to talk to a mirror.
That's
directly.
right. Yes.
Remember he talked about it. It worked for him. And look, how about him him confronting Brock Lesnar?
Whoa, that guy's got guts.
Yeah. Well, you remember him and Goldberg kind of had.
Yes.
That dude's not a pussy.
No, he's not. He's not. And Jericho, by his own admission, isn't a super tough guy.
No, he just stands up for what he
takes guts.
Yeah.
It's like I said.
He was concerned about Randy Orton.
Yeah, and from what I read, Lesnar was like poking him and getting into him, like trying to intimidate him, and he didn't back down.
Who were the guys? Oh, Batista, the one that got beat down by Booker T. Remember?
I didn't know about that.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
How do you not know about that?
Oh, here's a question I have for you.
I'm like, how do you not? You listen to all these podcasts. You listen to all the
historical ones. That's probably why. No,
you're like, that's because Bix and Chris haven't gotten to that one
yet. The one I wanted to ask you about. I heard, I read this on the Observer site even, that Nicho is 4-0 in locker room fights.
Yeah, apparently he got in a fight with
Sandow.
Sandow?
Before he left, apparently he cleaned.
There was somebody else he just fought recently, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I heard it's like not an exaggeration that he's gotten to 4 fights.
Well, you know what it is? I think a lot of these guys see Mexicans luchadors and they think, they can't. They're just flippy dudes. They picture them being flippy dudes.
Yes.
They think all of them are high flying guys who do flips. They don't realize that a lot of these guys are actually like trained in mat wrestling, amateur wrestling, and they're trained to defend themselves. Remember the Rudy Reyna article I wrote?
Yes,
where Rudy Reyna said the first thing they taught him is how to defend himself, and he could actually win a fight.
Yeah.
To defend himself, and that's the first thing they
teach. He did it in Japan.
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
That's
and that goes back to ever since I can remember. Everybody used to say, "Oh, Mexicans aren't tough." I already went on my rant a few episodes ago about Luthez, saying that there's no such thing as amateur wrestling.
Negro Navarro. I mean, who would want?
God damn, yeah.
Even in his 60s, who would want to fuck with that guy?
Not me.
I don't even think Brock Lesnar would want to fuck with that guy.
And a lot of people.
Although I think Brock Lesnar is 10 feet taller than him, so it's like
as much as we joke about Mil Mascaras, and he's kind of set it up for jokes. That dude can go, and
not anymore.
Not anymore, but
well, against older people, he probably can.
He can, but when he's younger, people I know who are a little more honest than others, even who don't like him, said that. The stuff about him's true. He is out there, but they said.
I think he trained in amateur, like in
judo too.
Yes, a variety of sports. Because he said he was getting into some other sport before he got the offer.
Yeah, I know judo was one of them.
Yeah, I can't remember.
In fact, check out that Abdullah the Butcher match that he has in Japan from the late 70s. Because, Abdullah was a judoka. And they're not shooting, but you can tell they're testing each other's sense of gravity at points in the match. It's a fun... I try to tell to other people and they say, it's a styles clash. I'm like, fucking open up your minds, you morons. Just... but no, I've heard several people say... I'll say a lot of things about Mascaras, but he's not a pussy, and even if he knows you can kick his ass, he's gonna fight back.
Super porky.
Yes.
All you hear is the stories of him, and now I don't think. Although I'm sure you get close to him, he could probably still land a good punch on you.
Oh, I bet he can.
Yeah, but I mean, back in the day, he had a reputation for being somebody who could handle himself. And those guys were Superboy is like 5'3", 5'4", basically.
Babyface too.
Babyface.
I mean, there's another guy who people joked about his height, but apparently
Babyface was awesome though.
He was a great worker.
I never thought I always thought he was a tough guy just from seeing him work because he looked like.
I think so. Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones you always kind of question are the ones who wear the frilly outfits and the sexy guys, like the Latin lovers and guys like that. And even those guys, I mean, I'm sure they take at least some training to take care of themselves in the ring.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's different levels of it.
Exactly, and there's some like me. I was just taught the basic like front face locks, like hooking the eye if somebody really gets.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mess with. I wouldn't chance with the most remedial jujitsu student.
I was looking through that list because I was looking for the Principe Indu match and I couldn't find it. But I was going through the list and I see the tape that has the Bruiser Brody versus Lex Luger match.
Oh,
I was just laughing about it.
A classic.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that match in Brody decided not to sell for Luger.
Yeah, that was a classic.
So Luger got scared. I think he asked the referee what to do, and the referee told him to get.
And the referee was Bill Alfonso.
Yeah, I think he told him to jump over out of the get out of the ring, get out of the cage because it's a cage match.
Yeah,
and he jumps out of the cage and he never returns to Florida. One of the great shoots.
In fact, that the Moscar story that I heard, the first story about him willing to go toe-to-toe was, the Channel 13 matches sometimes were aired live as they were being taped. Mm-hmm. And Bob Roop came to the territory, was supposed to have a run, and they...
He had issues in other places too, didn't he, for the same reason?
I believe so, yes. And they don't know who started... I don't know who started it, but I know several people who actually saw it on TV where they just started shooting, and Roop was getting the better of Moscaris, and Moscaris just started stomping on Roop's foot, which means you're not messing around,
Yeah.
But they eventually Gene LaBelle got in the ring, and they both stopped filming.
Yes, Gene LaBelle.
And
still my favorite guest on a podcast.
Exactly.
No other podcast.
God, that was awesome.
No other podcast has gotten
Ryan Doyle.
Yes, no one else.
You rock, Ryan Doyle.
No one else has gotten judo.
That was awesome.
Although I'm sure maybe they have.
Ryan Alvarez wrote me saying, "I've been trying to get that guy in my show for a year."
I've got to look through and find which episode that is.
That'd be fun. Oh God. But Roop, same like Luca. Roop literally went to the dressing room, grabbed his stuff, and left.
Yeah.
And never,
You don't want to fuck around with Gene LaBelle.
But absolutely. Yeah. And because every now and then I'll hear maybe a comment like, "Well, the reason Moscaris' matches with Briscoe or Race were good is because he must have been intimidated."
No,
no.
He was actually. A lot of people will put him down, but he was actually pretty good at one point.
Yeah.
He wasn't awful. I mean, everybody took what Cactus Jack said and other people said.
Exactly.
By that point, how old? I mean, Mil Moscaris by that point was 50 by the time he faced Cactus Jack.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Absolutely. And Jack Briscoe described wrestling.
Well, past 40 at least.
Mil Moscaris as a night off, said he was an easy guy to work with. And Destroyer, I think, kind of summed it up really good. He says, "Yeah, Moscaris."
And Cactus Jack ain't no Jack Briscoe or Harley Race.
Harley Race or Destroyer.
Or Destroyer or Jumbo.
I like him, but
or Jumbo Saruda.
I like Cactus Jack, but he's not.
Yes, he's not that level worker. Yeah.
And the Destroyer said something to the effect of, "Yeah, you could have a good match with Moscaris, but you had to be in condition, and you had to go for the holds. He just wouldn't give them to you.
Yeah.
You reverse it, and he'd reverse it.
And it's not like there's been other guys that have talked about matches with Mil Moscaris where they said he doesn't give you anything.
Yeah.
Compared to his brother Dos.
Exactly.
Or Don Caras.
Don Caras.
Dos Caras or Don Caras.
And if you're a guy who's in really, really good condition, like a Bob Backlund or Tony Rocco, I mean, that's probably kind of a fun challenge. Cause of all people, I don't know if you know this, before Buddy Rose had all his issues, the guy had amazing stamina.
Yeah.
But still, he lived off ice cream cakes and stuff like that. He never ate well, never went to the gym, but his stamina was legendary, and he said the fun thing to do on spot shows was if you're wrestling Backlund, try to get him to blow up. And he says nobody could do it.
Wow.
But Buddy Rose was the one who probably could have, but he said even I couldn't get him to blow up.
Because Backlund, either way, he's such a hyper. Like,
totally.
Really, like everything he does, it seems like it's like all energy. And,
totally. He's like extreme. No sugar, no carb, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd probably go crazy if I had to be around him a lot, but his conditioning is second to nobody's.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done like an hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah, this was a fun one. A lot of lucha talk.
Lucha talk. We actually talked about tough guys in wrestling. Tough guys and wimps in wrestling, because Lex Luger. Although, Lex Luger, I did like him. I was a big fan of his. I'll admit, I was a big fan of his feud with Nikita Koloff back in 1987.
Well, again, it's one of those guys where...
Back when I thought they were like the shit back then. Like, oh my God. I loved all the, like... It wasn't just them. I was a huge fan of everything.
Oh, hey, there's a ton of guys who aren't good.
Missing Link. I was a big fan of Missing Link.
I dug Missing Link.
Yes, I know, but it's just, I think now there's not as many. Like in Lucha there is.
Yeah.
For me. But now in the U.S. there's not as much.
Oh, yeah, people like we were talking earlier about Mr. Niebla. That's somebody who... Yeah. You're not going to get this 5-star
Like match. I was saying, like Mr. Niebla, everybody's like, oh, he's a drunk and all that stuff. It's like... Yeah, but I met him. He's kind of cool when you meet him, and he has a following. Plus, he's a cool interview, like because he's a party guy,
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people just they want to see a match that's just going to blow people's socks off. But no, sometimes I dig guys who aren't necessarily good workers, but still entertain you. I mean, the historical figure that I wish there's footage of was Whisker Savage, because he was the biggest draw.
I thought you were going to say Man Mountain Mike.
I saw him live.
Oh.
I saw him live.
I always wanted to see how those two twin fat guys.
Oh, the McGuires. There's footage of them on YouTube. Yeah, you can find them. Yeah, they made Man Mountain Mike look like Mil Mascaras. Yeah. No, but Whisker Savage was apparently the biggest draw for Morse Siegel in all those years. Like, it wasn't people like... Luthez or Strangler Lewis, it was Whisker Savage. But apparently, he literally just knew a few holds. But people loved him, he drew.
Sounds like Pure Oath. I like how we're now...
Except he draws.
We're transitioning to Pure Oath.
There's a different. Pure Oath doesn't draw.
We're transitioning to Pure Oath.
Yes.
The guy we just... Actually, I don't dislike him. I don't think he's... I'm not a fan, but it's like...
No, you know what? If he was over and he drew people, hey, power to him. But, that's why...
It's just weird that he's, like, Rush would go at his dad. Like, I wouldn't want to tag with my dad in a faction.
Oh, Dad, I don't want to tag with you.
I don't want to tag with you, man. Come on.
Oh, man, you embarrassed me in front of my friends.
Yeah, you embarrassed me in front of my friends. Now I got to tag with you.
Oh, you're putting on that Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
How about a little Iron Maiden?
How am I supposed to look cool for the ladies? Although Rush is married already, so he doesn't need that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
got a good-looking wife too. So all the brothers. Actually, I don't know Dragon Lee, but the other brothers, Mystico's dating one of the edecanes, ex edecanes, because they quit once they
get married.
Once they get into a relationship.
Gotcha.
I think the only one that's still doing it is Angel de Oro's wife, but I think she's kind of in and out of it now.
I remember when they first started having women accompany the wrestlers to the ring in the early 90s.
And you're like,
apparently it's the other way around. They started off as wrestlers' girlfriends.
Yeah.
Who would,
Yeah, and these are starting as
ring girls,
but they end up like hooking up with a guy.
Yes.
Although I'm kind of curious because I think I'm guessing some of them have to be like professional dancers and are taking that career a little more seriously or something.
Possibly.
But that doesn't mean they would stop. I like how we're now we're transitioning to the edecanes. Let's just stop it.
Well, that's
Let's stop it at this point before we say anything.
That's the problem. When I'm on those digital archives, I start researching wrestling in 1930.
Yeah.
And I find this great article on wrestling, but then I look over. There's some funky article about somebody who thought they saw a ghost in a prison or something, or some entertainer I never heard of, and next thing I know it's 1 a.m. in the morning because I'm exploring all this stuff that has nothing to do with wrestling.
So this podcast went from us talking about lucha talking about podcasting and interviews.
And we did this without the...
Wait, and then what was the other thing? Toughest guys.
Toughest guys.
And then
it was coffee talk.
And then the edecanes.
Yes.
You got your...
It was coffee talk without the coffee. I swear to God, people, we are not on stimulants. This is us. This is our organic personalities.
So next show we probably will talk about Teddy Hart. Maybe we'll add Teddy Hart to the podcast.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Because the interviews we did lasted 15 minutes. We'll just add that and then just finish it off with our thoughts on Triplemania. My thoughts on Triplemania. Our thoughts on the anniversary show. And will Kurt be the new Trauma 1? You imagine Negro Navarro looks over and sees you.
Like, what the hell?
What happened to him? When did this happen?
The name...
You have a birth certificate. Trauma 1. Trauma Navarro.
Trauma Navarro Drummond.
Yes.
Yeah. And
you give him a pen to sign it.
They'll go from being known as Los Traumas to Los Traumatized. That's what it will be. Yes.
But that would be just hilarious.
Well, I hope...
Hey, Negro Navarro's going to be here in September, so we could tell him... Although we probably won't go because that's the expensive part.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can sneak in the back way and get an interview.
You know, if they book Traumas on that show with Negro Navarro, it would be worth it because then we could all hang out with all those guys.
Yes.
We could interview everybody and talk to them and kick back.
That would be cool.
Get Negro Navarro to lower the price on the
yeah, really.
Book of Holds.
Oh, that'd be bitchin'.
Yeah.
Okay. From 83rd anniversary to the Book of Holds.
Triplemania.
And all other things, tough guys, wimps, madmen.
The ladies.
The ladies! And the freaks and the fritos. Until next time.
The cats.
The cats. The hep cats. Hare Krishna, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.